what's going on, and I'll tell you what's going on. What's going on is maybe the hardest review I've ever had to do. Not because there's any like complications with the beverage so much. I mean, flat out killer beer. But how to describe this to you? Okay, this is the Shawinigan Handshake. Shawinigan being Chrétien's, our ex-prime minister's hometown. Don Cherry, of course, was a crusher for the Bruins or something way back in the day. NHL star, man, like one of those guys. Tough guy, I think is what he calls himself. You know what I'm saying? So there's a lot of like there's political shit and stuff I'm trying to avoid, like stuff. I don't care. I don't give a shit. But as long as the prime minister isn't a total moron, I don't really give two shits hardly. But Chrétien, I think he'd be someone that'd be really cool to party with, as long as you don't get too close. You get too close, and you might get yourself throttled. I mean, Schwinnigan handshake is his patented chokehold. Okay, so like, I mean, yeah, he could get Sherry, man. Like, if Sherry's not ready, man, Chrétien could just nab him by the throat. You know what I mean? Like, that's not hockey. I mean, but from a good clean start, I'm pretty sure Sherry would. We would assume, but super cool beer. I mean, and I want to get it right out of the way. Just because it has a label that's helping to sell it a lot doesn't mean it's not good beer. It's very good beer. This is brewed by Trou du Diable. So it's pugnacious strong ale at 6.5%. It is Shawinigan Handshake is a hazy peach-colored beer with notes of bread, bananas, and spruce, reflecting the flavors of German yeast and Chinook hops with explosive effervescence. I mean, that's exactly what's going on here, but the only thing I can really describe to you too much about the beer is exactly how much Chinook hops is in there, exactly what we're getting out of the yeast, and exactly the start, middle, finish kind of thing on the beer. So I'm going to just kind of try and elaborate on that a little bit for you. A pretty good description here. It is a very unique beer. If I had to go anywhere with kind of a descriptive trip for you, would be maybe yeast is claiming you're getting the German, whatever, showing off the German yeast sort of thing. This German yeast is coming off very Belgian-like, and I know there's a lot of German yeast out there. If you've ever had an alt beer, I'd rather brewed an alt beer, and the yeast floats. It's very strange stuff. So I mean, you just don't want to categorize German beer into pilsners, because that's not. I mean, there's the German purity law N, which is barley, water, hops. There's also a lot of German wheat beers out there. And then the wheat is kind of where you cross. And a lot of Belgians take on wheat and candy sugar and things. And the Belgian yeasts are very bizarre, fermented hop. That's where you're pulling out your banana flavors. You're getting banana flavors in this. So what exact strain of German yeast I'm not too familiar with. I'll get that right out of the way. Someone may know. But you see the way the head performs is very sponge-like and very squishy. It's lacing fucking just termite nuts. Like it's just crazy. Like it's like a hardcore Belgian yeast on here, but you're claiming a German origin. Smelling quite a bit Belgian as well, but you're also getting the Chinook, kind of like just the edge of the IPA kind of Chinook thing going on. You're also catching the spruceness, even in the aroma, but very subtle. It's kind of like the back finish flavor. Bread-like, they're saying, I would almost take it into the shortbread, like the Scottish style, the pale Scottish shortbread type beer. Not the Scottish heavy, but like the Scottish shortbread pale. And bananas, that's, I would say, obviously coming from the yeast. Yeah, you're getting the Chinook hops pretty close to up front, and all kinds of malt flavors. And as this beer warms up, it changes. I do like a little bit. I do like a cold. This beer, right out of the gate, is a Spinal Tap. It's 11 out of 11. There's nothing wrong with this beer at all. It's original. It's cool. It's got all kinds of great flavors. It's well balanced. It's got great texture, mouthfeel, carbonation, ridiculous head, and lacing. This is my fourth glass, and I picked a small glass just to make sure I do it. It is absolutely bottle conditioned. Um, so there's a massive yeast cake in the bottom of this. Um, this is an epic beer. This is if you want to go there, this is a truly epic beer. So, it's the same price as all the other bombers. Canadian bombers are apparently about in the $7 range for a lot of this stuff, and that's what this was. So, if you see it, I would highly recommend picking this one up because the thing I really like about this beer is it does kind of have a little bit of like the Belgian style yeast characteristics in it, even though we're not sure where the origin of this yeast is. Not that it matters. You're still pulling out bananas. You're still kind of pulling out that type of behavior out of it. But it's a little bit milder, right? And so it has a lot of cool stuff going for it, but it's all kind of a little bit down a level. But it all kind of comes together to make a real fat. And the only thing that's really not, depending on what you're used to, I'm gonna say it's down a little, like it's down a little from like a double IPA, and the hops, you know what I mean, is down a little in the malt from a Scottish beer. It is down a little bit, so it's very appealing to everyone, but it's still a lot higher up on every level than beers that suck ass. So, but for the balance, originality, and stuff, this is absolutely a doer. It's an epic beer. But the one thing that is not subtle at all in this beer is performance out of the head. And this is near the end. It's not a good pour, but this beer, when you first open, it has an absolute ridiculous, like hardcore type Belgian head to it. There's no doubt that's the psychotic part of the beer. And the finish and everything is beautiful. When it all comes together in the aftertaste, it's so well balanced and put together so well. I can't say enough about this beer. And the label to get these guys, and like these people are artists. It's a concept there. That's obviously somebody woke up in the middle of the night and had to write that down, or had this idea. That's a really cool idea. So I would say any of their other beers that they have, I wouldn't be scared to try them either. They're probably quite amazing. Yeah, I would assume. Yeah, you sure are catching. One of the more upfront flavors is the Chinook hops for sure, and then you're pulling out your breadiness, your shortbread. Then your yeast, your banana type yeast characteristics in the back. So that's why I do prefer this. Is what I'm really trying to get at, is over a lot of the hardcore Belgians. They're a little bit on the extreme side for yeast profile, for damn sure. They're too gross in the yeast, or they're too gross in the malt when you eat the dark ones. They're on 10%. Some of them, they're a little bit too outrageous, a little too much, too rich. This beer is, even though like you might want to compare this to Don Cherry's Suit, is much more, I guess. And I'm not saying that's outrageous necessarily, but it is to the way most people would think. But the beer is so masterpiecefully put together. It's an absolute Spinal Tap. So we're giving this one 11 out of 11. Can't say enough about it. It's the coolest beer damn near ever. And then it's hard to rate. Once they come to 11, man, it's just you gotta try it. It's just a work of art, and they're all kind of up there. So another great beer from where is the city? I'm guessing it's it's from Shawinigan, so it is brewed in Chrétien's hometown. And so I will have to plug a lot of Quebec breweries. Unibrew, obviously, being one of Canada's big time, amazing beers. They're brewing a lot of really cool stuff, and so we're seeing another great brewery from Quebec, really performing and bringing top level world class beer to the table. So that's fabulous. And BeerZerker, I'm out. Spinal Tap 11 out of 11. This beer is amazing.